Join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, on roll call, Mr. Bartlett.
Here.
Ms. Brown Knight.
Here.
I'll get a motion in 1 second for Leah. Dr. Lewis.
Here.
Mr. Rankin.
Here.
Mr. York.
Here.
All right, a motion to excuse Leah.
So moved.
Second.
A second. Mr. Bartlett.
Aye.
Brown Knight.
Aye.
Dr. Lewis.
Aye.
Mrs. Rankin.
Aye.
Mr. York.
Aye.
All right.
It's hard to follow.
All right, any question regarding the minutes from the May 25th, and we have the special meeting on May the 30th. Any questions, any comments, any revisions?
Nope.
No. All right, motion and a second to accept.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Bartlett?
Aye.
Ms. Brown Knight?
I missed one.
Sue, abstain?
Abstain.
Okay. Dr. Lewis?
I abstained for the 25th. I was here for the 30th, so.
Okay,
Right, flipped.
got all that.
Well, so if it's flipped, you can still have.
We might have to do it one at a time.
One
Yeah,
at
I
a time?
Otherwise, we're only going to have.
All right, so this is for the May 25th. This was the full council meeting, May 25th,
Okay.
okay?
Okay, so I'll still use Kelly and Randy as moving in second.
Okay, so Mr. Bartlett?
Aye.
Aye.
Yeah, aye,
Abstain.
abstain.
Aye.
Aye.
Was here.
All right, so for the May 30th then, motion and a second to,
So
do
moved.
we already have that?
I already got
All
that.
right, then. All right, Mr. Bartlett?
Aye.
Abstain.
Abstain. Dr. Lewis?
Aye.
Ms. Rankin?
Aye.
Mr. York?
Aye.
All right.
Oh, this is multiple, thank you. Right.
I don't know. It's hard to follow.
All right, in communications, we'll start with Chief Hines is rather well put together and drafted a monthly report. Chief, do you have anything to add, any comments?
I do not.
Not? I will say there were a couple of nice
Yeah.
letters in the back there, some thank yous. That was very nice.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, we have great residents. They keep us fattened up with the food and stuff. Actually, just before council tonight, a resident came in and dropped off some sweets. So we may have to kick up our physical fitness program here pretty soon.
Oh, my God.
We got great people live here.
All right. Chief Copeland, any comments regarding the fire report? Anything to add there, Dan? No? Any questions? Anybody got any questions? No? All right, Service Department report. Mr. Scherpenberg? Nothing at this time? What is it, a hot June day here? Nobody got anything to say? Is that the? Does anyone have any question regarding the report? No? All right. All right. Tax Administrator Barlow report.
Wow.
Any questions there? regarding any-
Numbers are good.
Yeah,
Numbers are
those
really
look
good.
Yeah. All right, Mr. Holloway.
Yes.
Here.
Just wanted to elaborate on the
You come up.
Yeah.
just wanted to elaborate on the comment,
Please state your name, sir.
Rod Holloway, Building and Zoning Officer. Just to comment on the new townhome construction down at the old steam plant. I don't know if people have been by, but you'll see the foundation for the first lead unit is in the ground, and they're gonna start the second one probably in the next month.
Oh, wow.
And both sets of build plans for the first two units are under review of the plans examiner.
So they're going to proceed with the second three
They've submitted
foundation,
applications.
before they start to frame up the first?
That's correct.
Really?
So how many things are there down there now? 17 or 19? What is it, the number?
There's planned 19 total, and we've got plans submitted to build the first 6 units out of 19.
Wow.
They got any pre-sales?
Can you repeat that, Ed?
Do they have any pre-sales?
Not
you're
that I'm aware of.
Okay.
So the first lead unit will be 7, 8, 9. The outer units, I understand, will have elevators. The middle unit will be elevator ready. But, you know, the price point's well over $1 million.
Over $1 million?
$1.3 million, I think.
But it'll be a much shorter commute for you, Ed.
And once we,
I have some questions.
Yes,
So,
Mr. York.
You got a geothermal application,
That's correct.
and we need to probably update our ordinance to capture that.
That's correct.
And we probably have good basis for that.
There's other municipalities that have drafted geothermals that will probably cut it up and put it into our ordinance.
So should we add that to, sorry, Susan, should we add that to?
So close to getting all of my.
I think so, because
Full of-
this one's right in the center, I mean, it's on Center Street, the applicant, so it's
Okay.
hitting, and I think much like solar, my guess is geothermal is gonna probably take off over the next couple of years as well.
So you referring that to?
I'll refer that to Susan's committee. And by the way, this is not our first experience, with a geothermal installation, although our code is somewhat wanting in that regard. And given that, there may be more of these in the future, it was a good idea that we update this. At least,
Just unlike I think the solar panels, which was probably more an aesthetic issue, I think the geothermal is gonna be much more zoning in terms of where people are allowed to locate their underground coils. Will we allow them in the front yard, just in the rear yard? How much setback? Those kinds of things I think need to be addressed.
Do we have, is there, I don't know how this works, any threat of like gas pockets as people dig for geothermal? Is that a concern we have?
the only gas pocket is probably in this room.
I was surprised to hear how deep these wells go. They'll, depending on how
Yeah.
many wells they dig, it'll be somewhere between 200 and 600 feet deep.
Wow. Wow.
I will check on
The
this.
only reason I ask
Yeah.
is I did geothermal at my office and we hit a gas pocket and had a big explosion. So-
Really?
What happened?
Oh, we had a big explosion because we hit a gas pocket going down for
Really?
geothermal. Mhm.
And I think the other aspect too is, there's closed loop and open loop systems that,
Okay.
if you allow open loop, you allow people to interface with the aquifers and other underground water sources. I don't think we would do that, so we would probably have just allow people just to put closed loop systems in.
Okay. Do we have somebody, I guess so we'll look at other municipalities, what they've done. Perfect. Okay.
I'll check with Engineer Erdl on whether or not they understand what the,
What we're signing up for?
yeah, well, what's underground and what is our knowledge of the area that Mariemont's built on, and see if we're prone to gas pockets or not.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
That's a good point, though.
Yes, we learned that lesson the hard way.
Any other
And
questions?
then our sandwich sign, we're working on that.
Yeah, I was delaying Susan's progress, but I think now we have a working draft of the talking points for the sandwich
Yeah.
signs. And I think there's a suggestion maybe of getting the rules and law group and have a public meeting to receive any additional format before we turn it around and get Ed to turn it into a real ordinance.
Has the businesses talked to you much about that?
Well, yes and no. Yeah, they have. I think the only thing that's probably yet to decide would be trying to standardize. We want these signs to
Right.
all sort of look the same, more or less, so that we don't have just some pell-mell scatter of signs out there.
Yeah.
And I believe, right, we're only allowing 6.
Up to 6. I'm not sure they're all crossed between Starbucks heading east. So between
Right.
that entranceway to that access off of Worcester Pike is where the business leaders have said they have interest to put sandwich signs in.
And
So
I-
we've
There'll be a
really
fee.
engaged the business community. What do you guys want?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
6 is a good number.
Yeah.
All right,
And,
thank you.
well, and then on top of that, Rod, I mean, which was not a delay, but part of the rules and law, and that committee was that you were asking the businesses for feedback on the standards of the signs. We have all that, Rod did all that work, and now
Awesome.
we just have to close the loop.
But in essence, I think we're going to create a annualized permit and for an exchange of a space and utilize the village right-of-way to locate a sign that's not too close to the fire hydrants or post signs and not blocking roadways.
And we did reach out to the rental property owners. Was there any impact to that? Any response?
I have yet to receive a response based on the note you sent out to the group.
There's going to be some next steps there we're
Yeah.
going to talk about, yeah.
We put next steps in them.
Yeah,
So we're,
Excused.
all right. Thank you.
Thank you, Rod.
Thank you, Sarah. All right, next, we have the letters that were written by Mr. McTighe to the Ohio Ethics Commission regarding various aspects of the tennis pro, the tennis court, so on and so forth. Does anyone have any questions or comments about that? Ed, do you wish to say anything?
The only thing is, we talked about at that special meeting we had relative to the tennis instructor. I'm willing to take the heat that what we've done here with our independent contractor agreement with him is legitimate, it's lawful, there's nothing contrary to law with it. And I think what we all agreed on, Rob, was that next year, over the next year, we're gonna kind of revisit the whole issue and decide what's the best way to handle him. But for now, I think we're doing it properly, okay?
thank you.
And I hope it's working out, is it?
Well, the contract is in the works, and
Haven't been signed yet?
well, there's just a minor little tweaks to be made, and Dave and I are going to be meeting either tomorrow or Wednesday.
Okay.
And it'll be very minor stuff. I will run it by you first.
Yeah, the dollar amount, I left that blank, because that's the one thing I was just not sure
Well, he and I
about because of
talked-
the
he and I
short
talked
period of
about that.
time, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, we threw a number out.
Yeah, we exactly. And I did fill in a number.
Yeah, but the
He-
math wasn't right the way the payment schedule was.
I think that
You
was
figured
correct.
that out?
Yeah,
Okay,
Yeah,
all right.
yeah, I think we did that. I mean, we had a very pleasant conversation with him this afternoon, everything.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
I'm happy about it.
okay. All right, so no other comments about that? Are we good? The only final thing here is that there's another letter, and I'm going to take blame for this, that I was not able to get in time to get it into the packet. However, it's really nothing more than sort of a continuation of what is said in the first letters.
So who's it from?
It's from the ethics.
Okay.
Yeah. It's
You just
from,
forward it to us later?
well, who's that? It's from a,
It's,
I only got this at like the last possible second here, and I'm sorry I didn't have time to make copies.
Did it just come in?
Yeah, well, it
Kristen
just came into
Fry,
me.
advisory attorney from the Ohio Ethics Commission.
Should we give that to Bill?
What's his name?
Or,
Her
That's a
name
her.
is Kristen Cly, C-L-Y.
That's the first one that came in, right?
No,
What's
this
it-
is a subsequent letter that I just found out about today, and I was interested to see it, because I think it was inadvertently omitted from the packet.
Okay.
I mean, I can't leave the meeting to make copies for everybody, but
That's okay. Well,
I don't
the-
think it adds that
No, yeah.
additional to, I mean, I apologize for this, but I don't think we're missing any.
That's fine. If you, I mean, I think that's fine, just if you forward it to us.
Forward it to
Just-
everybody.
Yeah, just email it to everybody,
Yeah.
so everyone has a copy.
Okay,
if any of us feel there is some content in that, once we review it, we're open to bring that up in the
oh, of
next
course,
meeting.
yeah, of course, yeah, absolutely. All right. All right, permission to address council.
I just wanted to introduce myself. My name is Mandy Beecroft. I'm the new branch manager at the Mariemont Branch Library.
Could you spell the last name?
Yeah, B-E-E-C-R-O-F-T. All right, and I just wanted to introduce myself and to start coming to these meetings to hopefully get to know a little bit more about Mariemont and find out what the library can do to help the community as well.
Oh, great, great.
Thank you.
Well, welcome aboard over there.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's a great branch.
I like it very much.
Yeah. Anyone else? No?
He's gonna forward this to everybody.
I've got one, I've heard rumblings that there's some information out in the village about how Richard is no longer with us, so I'm going to read his resignation letter. This is dated May 17, 2023. Mayor and Village Council, I am resigning as the fiscal officer of the Village of Mariemont. There have been some recent comments that I feel attack me and my integrity, which is extremely important. I didn't sleep much for a 3-day period as a result of the comments that were made, which led to my decision to resign. I just can't work in an environment where I feel personally attacked or threatened. I met with Mayor Brown and Administrator Barlow today to discuss a transition plan and have agreed to stay on until May 31st to help finish some things I've been working on and to prepare the upcoming tax budget, but I don't feel comfortable coming on site any longer. After May 31st, I expressed my willingness to help Mr. Barlow, Mrs. Van Pelt, and Ms. Uhrig with UAN and financial type questions as needed on a voluntary basis until a new fiscal officer is appointed. This decision was not made lightly and has been very discouraging to say the least. I really love Mariemont and was looking forward to many more years there and have put a lot of extra time on site to help the village, which makes this decision so difficult. Thank you for allowing me to be part of your very special village over the past year. Richard Ford. Richard being gone is a huge loss for this village. I hope everybody realizes that. It's a shame that he had to go. The circumstances, basically he left because he was doing his job. Simple as that. He has responsibilities as a fiscal officer, and he was doing his job, and he ended up having to resign. And that's not good. It's not good that he also feels that this kind of environment, because for historical reasons, I'm here because there was a hostile, toxic environment here. My predecessor left because of that. 2 other employees left because of that. Swimming pool manager and Rod's predecessor in the building and zoning office. That's not good. I thought it was gone, but apparently it may be coming back, and that needs to be nipped in the bud. We can't have that kind of environment here. Can't have it. And as village administrator, I'm going to do what I can to nip that in the bud. If it means getting an investigation from an outside source, so be it. But I won't be here. I won't be here and work in or allow a hostile or toxic environment to go forward. Because in this situation or something like that, there are 2 sides. You're either part of the problem or you're part of the solution. Hopefully everybody here will be be part of the solution and not be part of the problem. So, thank you.
No, thank you, Chuck.
Thanks, Chuck.
Thank you.
Also, to Richard's credit, I believe you've had contact with him now that you have been appointed the interim fiscal officer, and he has agreed to assist you, correct?
He has indeed,
Okay, all right. All right, permission,
and I'm grateful for that.
yes. Motion to pay the bills. Any questions regarding the bills? We've looked over the bills.
For that streetlight replacement, is the insurance going to reimburse 100% of that? The $23,000?
Yes, I believe, yeah.
That's the light pole on Pleasant.
Uh-huh, yeah.
So the insurance, they've got to get it right.
And
It just finally came in, it took that long.
And which pole is that,
On
John?
Pleasant Street near Denny.
Okay.
I mean, it's been like, it's been down forever.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's been a while. I mean, look at the
But
date.
then we're gonna have another one down on Worcester at, what's the cross street?
Oak and Willow.
Yeah, Oak, right,
That's been hit twice now.
yeah.
Yeah, right after we painted them.
Yeah.
I have talked to the insurance company already about that, but again, we're sort of waiting on the replacement pole to come in.
The new one that just got hit, they do have insurance as well.
Yeah, yeah.
The one on Worcester? So we've got 2 total.
Was there a hydrant damaged on that too as well? No. Okay. All right, any other questions regarding the bills? No?
No?
All right, a motion and a second to pay the bills.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Bartlett.
Aye.
Mrs. Brown Knight.
Aye.
Dr. Lewis.
Aye.
Mrs. Rankin.
Aye.
Mr. York.
Aye.
All right, pay the bills. All right, it looks like we have the Marcy's, Dr. Lewis's report. Would you like to read that?
Yes.
Please?
Dated today's date, June 12th, 2023. The Special Subcommittee for Economic Development met on Monday, May 15th, 2023 at 2:15. Chairperson Marcy Lewis, council members Kelly Rankin, Randy York, Leah Galba, Mayor Bill Brown, Village Administrator Chuck Barlow, resident Tita Getter, who is a member of the Mayor's Resident Economic Development Group, and Emil Lizniansky, principal of Envision, were all present and at the meeting. The purpose of the meeting was to meet personally with Envision principal Emil Lizniansky and allow committee members an opportunity to discuss Envision's proposal in great detail. Over the course of the last several months, and as a result of the recommendation of the Ohio Plan's Comprehensive Strategic Action Plan, various entities were evaluated to assess their fit for providing the village with professional assistance in economic development efforts. The mayor, along with various council members, Administrator Barlow, and members of the Mayor's Resident Economic Development Group met with Envision, initial meeting 12/12/22, Alloy and Reedy Cincinnati on 2/8/23, the Nyer Group 3/21/23. In addition, a proposal was solicited from Bloom Community Partners, and that was received 4/10/23. While each of the organizations has many strengths, at the conclusion of the May 15th, 2023 meeting, the committee voted unanimously to accept Envision's proposal. Envision embodies many unique strengths that make it ideally suited to helping Mariemont in its economic development process. There's a typo there. It says especially, it should be specifically, so I'll fix that. Envision has worked successfully with Madeira clients. Visions of Poland and the City of Aurora. Poland and Aurora each have historic districts. The Vision has worked with their extensive knowledge of federal discretionary grant programs and the bipartisan infrastructure law. They will specifically work within the existing industrial area, as well as aid in evaluating the highest and best use of other potential sites within the village. In addition, Envision has strong strategic relationships with other economic development organizations, including but not limited to Development Strategy Group, LLC, who submitted a proposal to Mariemont last fall. Envision has also made it clear that their proposal is flexible and fluid as various findings emerge, but will not exceed the contracted bid. And I provided copies for you, so you have that number. It should be noted that over the past few months, Envision has been available to discuss both their proposal and additional concerns of the village. For example, AML reviewed the pool grant request that was made last year and made specific recommendations for this year's submission. In conclusion, the Subcommittee for Economic Development unanimously voted to accept Envision's proposal. The depth of their knowledge, familiarity with various economic development tools, and experience with acquiring funding make it an ideal organization to help Mariemont create and maximize its economic development strategy. Respectfully submitted, Marcy Lewis, Kelly Rankin, Randy York.
Do you have the signed copies? You have those signed.
Yep, Joni's got him.
All right, just, you've heard the report, any discussion here? I
No,
know,
And so this is the stuff that went with it then? Is this the
yes.
Yeah,
contract?
that's the proposal.
Okay.
And then there's a revision to the proposal that was based on an issue that Bill brought up at our second meeting.
Do you need me to prepare a resolution that,
Yeah.
actually accepting them and then preparing a contract for them?
Yes,
Okay, based on the proposal? Okay.
yes.
Having met with him several times, I'm very excited about bringing this company on board. I think he has a lot to offer the village, and I do think that he's flexible in that we can specifically tailor, our requests and our needs, that we're not basically going to just be paying for some, sort of a standardized of services. We're specifically going to get what we basically need, and that's probably one of the most positive takeaways about this guy. Other than he just seems to be well connected. I think he knows a lot of people, and I do think that he's going to be very helpful to Mr. York in grant writing, which is sort of a side thing for what
And I just want to
I
add,
would use him for.
those other organizations, we're not precluding ever working with them. It's just, I think that this is the guy to get us, the professional to get us on the right track for an overall economic development strategy.
Yeah.
So
No.
he's super well connected. He knows what he's doing.
Accessible, I was really pleased with how accessible he is, too.
And responsive.
Any other comments?
No,
All right.
just, it'll be good to, thank you for bringing this other stuff too, because it'll be helpful to go through this,
Susan asked me to do that. I should have probably sent it to you guys.
so.
All right, a motion and a second to accept.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Bartlett?
Aye.
Ms. Brown Knight?
I can do it.
Aye.
Dr. Lewis?
Aye.
Ms. Rankin?
Aye.
Mr. York?
Aye.
Good work.
Hey.
Well, now the real work starts, but,
Yeah.
Does that come off, or are you leaving that on?
well, it's kind of ongoing, ongoing project. I mean, we can maybe change the wording. So I do have a question, you know, because we had some delays. Is it possible to do the resolution on emergency so we can get going and get that started?
Sure, why not?
Fine with that.
We'll have it at the next meeting, pass it on
Okay.
emergency. I don't think we can.
Yeah, and I had prepared the report, but I just wanted to be here because it was my work and I wasn't available for the last meeting, so.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah, it's exciting, thank you.
Be great.
He's a really sharp guy. And, you know, I'm going to ask him at some point sooner rather than later to come to a meeting and meet everybody who hasn't had a chance to meet him. You'll be impressed.
Yeah, that'd be
And
nice.
the bid is competitive too, which is cool. So,
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, that's it? No other remarks? We all good? Okay, miscellaneous? Village fireworks will be held Monday, July the 3rd, beginning at dusk. Sure you're there. Village offices.
Who you pointing
The librarian, of
Oh, well,
course.
yeah, well, there's this ginormous thing.
She's new to the
Ginormous
community.
to
I just
me.
want to make sure that she's going to be at the fireworks, that's all.
Yes.
Um,
Just the-
Village offices will be closed in observance of Independence Day on Tuesday, July the 4th. The state audit will be Tuesday, June the 13th and 14th. Everybody stay tuned for that.
Stay away.
Refer to the Finance Department liability insurance renewal. Do you mean to the? to
Right,
this
they've
committee?
It's an annual process.
Right, they've already sent
The info?
the info for us to look
start?
over and see if there's any changes. I've sent that all back.
Okay.
So we're waiting now to get the bid back.
Okay,
Okay.
great, thank you.
And of course, the budget hearing will be held at 5:30. That'll be ahead of the regular meeting, Monday, July the 10th, with the regular council meeting beginning immediately upon its conclusion.
And I haven't heard, are you okay for that?
Which
that meeting?
council meeting?
On the 10th, starting at 5:30.
Starting at 5:30, ahead of the regular meeting.
Yes,
And Kelly, are you okay?
Indeed.
Okay.
July 10th.
Oh, am I okay? Is
Well-
really an open-ended
Because
question.
I have to change ICRC and all that, so I just wanted to make sure we had a quorum before I
July
did.
10th at 5:30.
Thank you.
I guess I should make sure before I just agree.
All right, looks like we have one resolution. We're going to be doing that on emergency as well.
Okay. To appoint Kelly I. Rankin as temporary village fiscal officer and to declare emergency.
Does feel like an emergency, doesn't it?
Yeah, it'll be an emergency. All right, we've had the first reading. I need a motion and a second to suspend the rules and allow for the second and third reading.
So moved.
Mr. Bartlett?
Wait a minute,
Oh,
who's the
The
second?
second.
Do we get a second? Yeah.
Thank
Mr.
you.
Bartlett?
Aye.
Brown Knight?
Aye.
Dr. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Rankin?
Aye.
Mr. York?
Aye.
May we have the second reading, please?
To appoint Kelly I. Rankin as temporary village fiscal officer and to declare emergency.
All right, that's the second reading. That's the discussion. Is there any discussion on this?
We don't have to worry about any conflicts or anything.
Ed checked on it.
No, we've already
Checked on it.
gone through
She's
that.
kind of just the interim. and
I'm
it's-
so grateful. I don't want to mess with this.
May we have the third reading, please?
To appoint Kelly I. Rankin as temporary village fiscal officer and to declare emergency.
All right, a motion and a second to adopt.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Bartlett?
Aye.
Brown Knight?
Aye.
Dr. Lewis?
Aye.
Mrs. Rankin?
Aye.
Mr. York?
Aye.
All right. I need a motion and a second to evoke the emergency clause.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Bartlett?
Aye.
Brown Knight?
Aye.
Dr. Lewis?
Aye.
Mrs. Rankin?
Aye.
Mr. York?
Aye.
All right, that'll be adopted.
Thank you.
Okay. All right.
Strap in.
This
Gonna
is
be
the
a ride.
first reading to repeal ordinance number 0823 pertaining to maximum pay rates for all grades of recreation employees and to enact new legislation pertaining to maximum pay rates for all grades of recreation employees, and to declare an emergency.
All right, you've had the first reading, motion and a second to suspend the rules and allow for the second and third reading.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Bartlett?
Aye.
Ms. Brown Knight?
Aye.
Mr. Lewis?
Aye.
Mrs. Rankin?
Aye.
Mr. York? Second reading, please.
To repeal ordinance number 0823 pertaining to maximum pay rates for all grades of recreation employees, and to enact new legislation pertaining to maximum pay rates for all grades of recreation employees, and to declare emergency.
All right, the second reading, any discussion? I think this is fairly straightforward. I mean, I think we all know what we're talking about here. Susan, you okay? All right, may we have the third reading, please?
To repeal ordinance number 0823 pertaining to maximum pay rates for all grades of recreation employees, and to enact new legislation pertaining to maximum pay rates for all grades of recreation employees, and to declare emergency.
All right, need a motion and a second to adopt.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Bartlett?
Aye.
Brown Knight?
Aye.
Dr. Lewis? Mrs. Rankin?
Aye.
Mr. York?
Aye.
Can
All
I
right.
ask really quickly, the
Sure.
minimum Ohio wage is $10.10 an hour. The Ohio state minimum wage
Yeah.
is $10.10 an hour.
You know what it says?
I don't know.
Well, and how do we pay somebody $9.50 an hour?
Because they're less than 16 years old.
Oh, that's how. I didn't know that. Thank you. Sorry.
I think we just adopted, correct. I need a motion and a second to evoke the emergency clause.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Bartlett?
Aye.
Mrs. Brown Knight?
Aye.
Dr. Lewis?
Aye.
Mrs. Rankin?
Aye.
Mr. York?
Aye.
All right, that'll be adopted. All right, moving on to the task list. Does anyone wish to?
Who are we going to assign for the quotes for the concourse trellis then? We don't have a name there, I was just curious.
Well, you can put my name down,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
It was just blank for now.
Well, I mean, Randy and I were sort of, I'm kind of taking point on it. Randy's got his plate is full anyway,
Okay.
yeah.
And can we put the completion date for December, since that'll feed into the permanent improvement fund discussion then? So we'll know
What the
for the trellises.
completion in what regard?
Having a quote.
Oh, having
Just
a quote.
Just a quote,
Yeah,
just a
no,
quote. 'cause
yeah.
again,
It should be done by December if that's.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Because
I'll get to
remember,
work on it right away.
We set aside $80,000
Yeah,
this year.
yes.
And we need to know how much.
We need to
is
know,
next
yeah,
year. So,
yes, I'll definitely have
Got it.
that.
okay.
Yeah. All right, anybody else wish to make a report here?
Well, for the one, number 4 on grants, that should be ongoing. I think we have July of target completion date, so I would say we have 5 outstanding grant applications right now, so, and there's a bunch of them coming due.
Okay.
Okay.
So you're just saying take off the July 22
Yeah, it should,
date?
it's an ongoing,
Yeah.
Can I ask a question regarding the trellises? Sorry, I didn't do this one step ago.
That's all right.
So what exactly are we asking them to do? To replace the top or?
It's actually a very big project because the wisteria that's over there now is very old, very overgrown. A lot of it is dying and so on and so forth. So probably all the wisteria will have to be removed. All of the wood framing that comprises the actual trellis will have to be removed and replaced. A lot of the stonework is going to have to be tucked and pointed, meaning the joints will have to be re-cemented in areas, kind of a thing. I think that, as I say, Mr. York and I were over there earlier today with Rod, and I think, I don't know whether they're going to be able to do this all in one swipe because this is an expensive project, but if we can formulate and come up with sort of a grand overall plan of what we would like to do, and Randy and I will be working on that, then we might be able to segment the project and do it that way, because it is so expensive.
Yeah, no, I'm sure it will be. So is there a possibility to get like Ohio's historic preservation?
Yeah, that's, but to do that, you need a budget and you need a plan.
Sure.
So we have to do all that, and with all that comes plan, comes community input and all that. And there are a lot of things we don't know. is that wisteria beyond its useful life?
Right.
We don't know the answer to that, you know?
I've gotten some opinions on that, and I reached out to Wendy Van Buren, and she reached out to somebody from the Cincinnati Zoo, and what I got back from him is that if it's alive, you should be able to cut it back. You know, we could probably remove what's dead, cut back what's live, and then it'll grow back.
Oh, good.
You
That'll
know.
save some money.
It's, yeah.
Except if it's still up there and you need to tear out
And
the
the-
trellis.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. You need to
no,
do
but
that
you can,
anyway.
but you can cut it back to the roots.
Oh, all the way back.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's I mean, most folks I talk
Cool.
to, it's a weed. But I looked at the original
Give
plan,
that to
it
me
calls
when
for
I grow
wisteria
back.
on that. It doesn't say, because the problem is, it's not blooming. One of the reasons why it's not blooming, because it's too shaded. Because the canopy's gotten too mature.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like that in the beginning, but the original plan does call for wisteria.
That's interesting, yeah, because we were talking about this morning. And then I think another aspect of the plan to address that is that probably there are too many trees. I almost hate to say this, but, well, no, I mean, some of the trees that we looked over there are not in good condition. So some of those trees could actually be removed, and I think you could sort of open, you know, a more airy feeling over there, let more sunlight in.
Well, I know a
Originally,
lot,
there
yeah.
weren't any trees. Those trees were put in the 1950s.
Well, okay,
60s.
so.
And in the description of it, there's supposed to be a lawn in front of it. It's one of the things that
There's
they,
no lawn.
but you're like, it's like a,
Yeah.
So, so Randy, what are the timelines for those applications?
well, they're ongoing. Some of them are due by July 1st. There's a couple of them that are due in September. This is 2024 funding, no doubt.
Okay.
Because the $80,000 can probably get us a nice plan. And, you know, we looked at some of the wood today, and there's dangerous parts of it that looks bad. It looks like it's a threat. So we might need to, this fall, take it out, part of it out.
Well, I'm just trying to think about, to your point about you need to have a plan to apply for the grant, do we need to try and have some of those quotes sooner than, I put December out there just because of the permanent improvement fund, but it sounds like we need it earlier in order to be able to meet grant timelines.
Well, we can, I mean, like I said, it's kind of multiple grants, or I mean, quotes that we'd be getting, but yeah, we could get that, and we could start to put, if it's.
We have one bid to the pergola. That was, what, 100, almost,
The trellises.
the trellis.
Trellis, but it's old.
And we have a bid to clean. We don't have a bid to tuck
Bid to
point
tuck
or
point,
do any
yeah.
of that other work. So, we've got some, but we don't have an overall plan, we don't have an overall vision. And we need that.
No, I think it's a great cause for doing that, and I just, again, I know there's the Ohio's historic preservation stuff has grant money available. I would think this would be a great
That'd be
opportunity to try and
perfect,
apply for
yep.
that.
And I think that next timeline is September.
Okay, so we should be targeting to have a plan by September, so Joni, instead of December, it's more like, what, August? Seriously, I mean, if you gotta submit it by September, you wanna have the plan by
Are
August.
you sure about that date?
What's that?
They have to submit for the grant?
I'm pretty sure it's
Thanks, okay.
September.
Well, you know, we'll talk,
So
if
we're
he needs it,
moving
we'll
to
get it.
August?
Yeah, for
August.
now, let's put August.
Yeah. All right.
Randy, one other question. Have you given any consideration in the project to like regrading the lawn?
Oh, we definitely need, if you look at the drain, it's higher than the grade of the most of the park. So I think what we do, and again, the mayor, Rod, and I were there, anytime you cut trees down this village, I think we're all sensitive to that. It's our heritage, it's an asset. We have to make, I mean, you cut down a 200-year-old tree, that's a big decision. So I think that we come up with a plan, I think we tie a ribbon or something around those trees that are being considered, and we invite the public to have input into it, and that's, to me, Rob, that's what's gonna take the time, because we have to be very diligent about these decisions.
Randy, when you say remove the trees, are you talking about the trees on the south side of the wall or in the park proper?
Both.
Both.
There are bigger trees that are on the south side, on the back side of the wall.
Uh-huh.
Some of which, one or two of which are clearly dead, and they're probably dangerous, and that should come down immediately, really. But there's other trees that I say they need to either be removed or thinned. So, I mean, you know, the point of the whole thing over there is that spectacular view. You know,
But you're not talking about trees that are like between the wall and Miami Bluff.
There
You
are
are.
some
Didn't
trees
one
there.
come down
Yeah.
a couple, 3 years ago, one get taken down there? Right close to like where center hits Miami Bluff?
It seems like there's a hole. Again, I think what we do is we put together a plan, we identify, get a committee together, here's our recommendation, and we get public input. Because, I know that, we don't want to take down trees. I mean, you can't get a 200-year-old tree back
Right.
once you cut it down. I know there's not any easy decisions. My problem is I like symmetry. I really like symmetry, and if you go to it, the opening is here. So it's, the opening that's right in the middle is all blocked by trees. So you think the center is over here, and it's not. And there's trees on this side, and it's out of balance now.
It's a little irregular.
Do we want to,
Yeah.
or do we say that's a phase, we do that over 10 years or whatever?
Yeah. I say the park needs to breathe a little, some of those trees. They just.
The ones on the hillside,
They need to be
the-
thinned.
some of the
Yeah, well,
hillside are
the
not.
ones on the hillside behind it, yeah, they
You gotta
definitely.
be careful about the erosion issues.
Right.
It's gotta
Yeah.
balance those two things out.
No. Well, you leave
Maybe
the
we should
stump.
plant some honeysuckle to control the erosion.
That would go well with the
Said no one ever.
wisteria and honeysuckle.
Maybe bamboo, or not.
Right.
Yeah, some bamboo.
Right, while we're at it, the bamboo, I like that.
All right, any other remarks, comments, some of the other items? No, I'm not hearing.
No?
No? All right. Final comments or remarks?
I want to recognize you, Mayor, and the work you did. I know Leah was involved with this. I know Chuck was involved with this. I know John was involved. I know that Susan and I talked about it, and I probably got 14 emails about the pool hours. It was not an easy week in the village.
No, it was not.
With Alta Fiber being more disruptive than I think we ever knew they
Yeah.
were going to be, with
Yeah.
that going on and with these pool hours. So I applaud you and Leah and John and Chuck and Mike Lockhart. I think you guys solved that in 24 hours.
We kind of came
So-
together, yeah, and I think
So
we got a
thank you.
good solution, and, extending the hours at the pool ever so, well, I don't want to say so slightly, but I
But if
believe that
you-
it really does work well for the younger moms with younger children. I understand the reason behind it, and I'm just happy we were able to, make it happen quickly.
Yeah, from what people have told me, it has a huge impact.
Yeah. Well, actually, the new hours start tomorrow.
Right.
Yes, yeah. It'll be open at 10 o'clock tomorrow. Yeah, 10 to 8. Yeah, so.
Thank you, Mayor. That was, I know it was a lot of work.
I appreciate the sentiment. All right, we good?
Yep.
Nice.
Look.
So,
I am a professional.